Okay, I'm back with another Suzerain, okay? So, like, yesterday, well, basically, like, we cut a deal with the Mets, okay? So, the Mathium International Trade Zone here. Now, the problem is that, like, for the past 30 to 40 years, okay, Mathium International Trade Zone is being exploited by four countries, okay? By Morella, by us, the Kingdom of Rizia, oh, and Lesbia, as well as what's the other one? Bogsland. Okay, so these four countries basically like invested heavily, regarding their mining in Mathium. Okay, so and there's not much like protection back in those times. So the people of Morella has been suffering, okay, because like their water, the rivers are polluted and everything. So it's all because of us. All four other countries basically not even like bothering much about the ramification of like excessive mining. Okay, so and we also given a choice to like buy out Lesbia's stake in the company. For me, I feel like for Lesbia, we shouldn't play. We shouldn't. We shouldn't buy out the stake based on what we have done here, okay? Because we've actually like made them. We actually like sabotaged them. Like it's not intentionally, but the result is we are doing that, okay? The first one is the Escaris field, okay? So the first one is the Escaris field that we bought from Palace. Okay, so that's one because that's supposedly to be given to Lesbia. Okay, Lesbia already bought from Palace, and like we kind of circumvent them because Palace don't really like trust Lesbia. They're just doing it for business. But even so, like money is money. Okay, so we bought them at a steep price. Okay, next is that um after less after that, the next thing that we actually like, kind of screw them over is over the MITS nationalization. Okay, we actually can choose like not to nationalize MITS. Okay, and he was counting on us to like, remain neutral on this. Okay, so we backstab him twice. If we backstab him another one, which is buying their share, I'm afraid there's gonna be like a ramification to all of this. Okay, because remember Lesbia is one of the country that is connected to Acacia. Acacia is the United States in this game. So having like if Lesbia is angry at us, we might have a superpower at our back door. Say like they're gonna make like some kind of like weird like unbased claims, and we have to deal with that. I don't want to deal with it, so there is a chance because if I pay for it, there's a good chance that we can. There's a good chance that we um, can buy it. Okay, but I don't want to deal with the ramification. And of course, like with us only buying at the 20% stake, we actually can like dictate the terms of because Morella have to give us something, right? Because they asked for nationalization, they need to give us something. And we managed to like build a pipeline, okay? We managed to build a pipeline over here. Okay, more gas pipeline. Here, we're supposed to like provide them with energy, okay? So they bought us for quite a decent amount of price, okay? And like it kind of like even us out in terms of like the like budget, um budget deficits and everything, okay? Yeah, so that's what happened. Palace stream tabs ready to be open. Okay. Whew. Okay, let's see. Millennium's workers strike halt city. Address the workers strike in Agno. Okay. In Agno, workers across all industry have laid down their tools in solidarity, demanding an improvement of working conditions for everyone, regardless of profession or industry. Factory gates remain shut Streets are eerily empty, and picket lines set up across the town have crippled industry and logistics. Like, here, it may seem like disperse the protesters is like the most logical choice, but I bet this is gonna be like one of the core reasons for a revolution, so we're not gonna do that. We can also allow the protests. But the problem is I can't see the royal decree. I want to see how bad it is. How bad of a hit it's gonna give us. Okay, let me just see. Let me just load. It's probably gonna load the one before. I wish it allow us to see the decrees. I want to see like the ramification of my actions. Let me see. Economy. Resources. Is it economy? Order. Because we need to like spend money on. We need to spend money on. Where is it? Increase health and education funding. We need to go for this. Permanent labor. Permanent work. Imposed also within critical industry return. The kingdom proposed extending permanent work. Which one is it? Well, anyhow, I do feel that tenant protection, impose gender pay, maybe this. If it's this, but I don't think it's the equal gender pay though. Oh well, I think we can allow it to happen. We can allow it to happen, okay? Promise better. Okay, workers' rights. Where is it? Where is it? Worker protection right. RPP. Proposed by, oh my god, 2 budgets per turn. Proposed by the Rizia People's Party, this decree ensures the state's commitment to safeguarding workers' rights across all industry. The legislation will enforce fair labor practice, equitable compensation, reasonable working hours, and safe working condition. The decree displays the kingdom's dedication to social justice and its role in promoting a harmonious, productive work environment for the nation's workforce. Okay. But like I say, the health and education, we've been reneging it for quite some time. A strike organized by Millennialist worker has brought to a standstill. The authorities seemingly allowed the strike to proceed. The leaders are talking about establishing a proper trade union in the city, modeled after foreign examples. But that's like based on Millennialists. Ooh, the kingdom faced a strategic opportunity to enhance its global standing through a significant media campaign. Centered in Consortium Kairut, known for being a hub of diplomatic activity and international lobbying, this initiative aims to positively transform Rizia's international perception, leveraging its location amidst the world embassy's influential lobbies. Situation. ATA. Global monarchy support. Mixed global image. This mixed representative affects Rizia's diplomatic leverage and necessitates by a nuanced approach to international relations. I definitely can't make it like a big one. I can't, like, I may be able to justify with a mid-size. Small, like, I need every single money that we have. Because rather than paying for media campaign, right, we can actually like pass laws, and that will indirectly like improve our global image. I think a small one is good enough. Okay, I think a small one is good enough. Mid is also not bad. God dang it. Where should I go? Mid-size or small? I think we need to spend either mid or small. The good thing is we have a lot of like energy supply, right? So I think okay, mid-size. We have quite a number of like energy supply, so I think it's a good idea. Let's see. Across the country, polling stations have opened as our fellow citizens head to the polls to fulfill their duty and confirm their support for King Romus Toras by electing a new House of Delegates. Okay, we're probably gonna lose our biggest supporters. Our public transportation is facing severe decline in on-time performance. Certain lines have ceased operation due to organization challenge. Oh god dang. Okay. This is bad. We have to pass the improving it. We have to pass it now. We have to pass it now. Do we have enough? Okay, we need one more budget. So we're gonna sell something. Okay, let's see. Large 253. They can go for this. But we're losing some authority, you know. Yes, sign. Now we go for... Oh, damn, we don't have enough energy. Seriously. We sold off all our energy. Yeah, that's pretty dumb of me. Okay. Let's see what else we can sell. We can sell the small one. Yeah, I think we should sell the small one. 2 energy for 1 budget. With that, we have enough for public transport. Oh, look at that. We kind of skipped that, okay? I walked into the council chambers. The councillors were already seated and waiting for me. As Titus closed the door behind us, the council members all stood up and bowed in respect. Good day, everybody, and I hope there's nothing too crazy to worry about today. The councillors made an effort to laugh at my comment. Your Majesty, before we begin in earnest, we must acknowledge the result of the recent House of Delegate election. What happened? Real infrastructure. Hugo had a white smile on his face. Oh, I bought 2. Oh. The Rizia National Coalition had an excellent showing. They now make up over 3/4 of the delegates. By unanimous vote, Daria Dereva has retained the position of House Speaker. Good. Brilliant. I'm glad to hear that the majority of Rizian public still respect the authority of the monarch and its supporters. Yeah. Brilliant. Indeed, Your Majesty. In other news, he gestures at Elena. Miss Werner has some important reports to share about our current energy situation. I'll let her speak. Thank you, Your Grace. I'll start with an overview of our energy situation. Luckily, we are still producing enough energy to meet our demands and stay above the balance. We place a stack of papers on the table. Based on our current deals and promises, including our projected energy production, we will be able to meet the demands of industries if our current project succeeds. Do you have any suggestion on how to improve energy situation? Okay, what is the current projection for our future energy production? Fortunately, at the moment, our energy demands are being met, but we may still have additional opportunities that we may get more energy returns from. Unfortunately, the only projection we can currently make is about the disputed Aureus gas field. Therefore, it is of immense value to us. Where is the current situation with our extraction of the gas there? I believe Duke is respecting our purchase deal. And how does the estimated value fit into our current projection? Is the predicted gas output of Aureus enough to support our energy demand? I think let's ask this about Palace. So far, we have worked in cooperation to prepare our side of the field for extraction. As negotiator with Duke Reinhardt, the entire rights will be officially transferred to us after we sign the official treaty. Is the predicted gas output from Aureus enough to support? We own the rights to the entire field. That's enough energy to supply us for decades to come. Now that preliminary reading is almost complete, I'm confident that we will be reaping the benefits sooner than later. That's good. Do you have any other question, Your Majesty? Any suggestion on how to improve our energy situation? One suggestion I have is that to sign the plans for Harvest Coal Mine project. It can provide a little relief for our energy industry. No, we shouldn't, because that is like in Valankris, and that's where Cantuevo, the famous winemaker, we shouldn't go for that. Apart from that, there is the Aureus gas field, of course. Therefore, it is very important that we sign the official treaty as soon as possible to make our purchase recognized. Lorenzo nodded. Thank you, Miss Werner. I have enough information. He bowed in respect. We have some news from Mr. Escabel regarding Palace and the Aureus gas field. According to Princess Vina, the latest communication, the date to finalize our purchase of the rights to Aureus has been set. We'll be meeting with Duke Reinhardt in 2 months. Our Pelesian counterparts are very pleased with the outcome of their meetings with Her Highness and are looking forward to making the deal official. I must congratulate you again, Your Majesty, for brokering this purchase. We purchased Rizia's energy future and improved relationship with Palace in one fell swoop. Yep, that's why I didn't expect to be able to buy it. But like I say, we are doing this so that we can create an off-ramp for Palace to like sever ties with Lesbia. Thank you, Mr. Escobar, for helping us stay on the path of peace. Yeah, the only way this could have gone better if we got the gas for free. Now let's just say thank you, Mr. Escabel. For me, it's the only option. Lucida's arms were folded. She hadn't spoken up in a while. What do you think of the deal, Duchess Zaro? She quickly uncrossed her arms. If I may speak, I was against this purchase from the start. It is a signal to our neighbors that Rizia is willing to pay any price to avoid conflict. We already have seen Morella use this knowledge to its advantage. We are not even desperate for energy. How much will our enemies be able to squeeze out of us when we actually need something? Rizia is a generous neighbor that negotiates peaceful compromises. That's the image I want to project to the world. My thoughts exactly. If there are no other comments, that was the extent of the news from my side. Does she want to send people to go to war? If she does, like, if you want to do that, we're gonna send people to die. Like, because war will always bring death, no matter on which side. I believe it's time to wrap this up. Everyone stood up and bowed. I left the chambers. I walked to the royal quarters of the palace. I read the report. The Republic of Cairo extended its formal congratulations to the Kingdom of Rizia for holding a successful election. It cited a desire for continued diplomatic relations with our kingdom and wished for us a peaceful future. Dear Romus, on behalf of Kingdom of Rumber, I would like to extend my official congratulations with the victory of RNC in your election. It warms my heart to see just how much your people support you. Uh-oh. Romberg? Oh my god, it's the Grace. Vendonson requests expeditionary force in civil war. The Confederacy now requests more direct military involvement in Grace allies. The kingdom must decide whether to escalate its involvement by deploying troops. Sending a full division represents a significant commitment and could decisively tip the scales. We also risk greater entanglement in the conflict. Alternatively, a volunteer brigade offers support without full-scale intervention. However, choosing not to send any forces could weaken Vendonasam and our influence in Grace. Fine, let's go. In response to the ongoing civil war in Vendonasam, Grace is increasing its support for the monarchist royalist troops. Okay. Fort Brazon, late night at the palace. I was woken up in the middle of the night by the Golden Guard. Due to its sensitivity about the information, I had to be urgently briefed in person. As the king, I knew such a summons could only mean dire news. I put on my clothes and followed Titus through the corridors of the palace. Do you know what this is about? I was told to come and get you, Your Majesty. I believe there is an important situation that needs your immediate attention. When we arrived at the doors of the Council of Chambers, Uncle Hugo greeted me. He tugged on my arm, leaned in, and whispered, "Romus, my boy. I'm afraid we will be facing our biggest crisis yet. I must stress, this is the time everybody needs a calm and resilient leadership." He took a long look at me and my clothes that I rushed to put on. "Your butler couldn't be summoned in time, I take it." He put his hand on my shoulder. "Make sure you're ready. I'm sure you'll do the right thing." I don't have time for this. Just step inside and let us discuss it properly. You're right. Let's just go in. I opened the door and we entered a scene of barely restrained chaos. The councillors were already gathered inside, their faces edged with lines of worry. Upon my entrance, they all stood up immediately. Lucida approached me with a calm demeanor that contrasts with the anxious atmosphere inside. She bowed and spoke. "Your Majesty, we have an emergency to report. About an hour ago, we received great news, to put it mildly. A very serious incident at our southern border with Palace has unfolded. May the Divine God protect us." I wish there was another way to put this. The Grand Duchy of Palace has committed act of war. This sounds serious. Let's just calm down and start from the beginning. This is what we know so far. Approximately an hour ago, a violent exchange erupted between our soldiers and Pelesian forces at our border near Fort Alice. She pointed at the map showing the border between Rizia and Palace. "Hold on, where's Vina? Did we manage to communicate with her at all?" "Unfortunately not yet, Your Majesty. As far as I'm aware, she's supposed to be at the port of Palace. We'll talk about how to handle the situation. Could you tell us the details first, Dr. Cesaro?" "Of course, Your Grace. During the brief firefight, the Pelesian managed to cross our border at the Alka River. It appears they made a bold and bloody incursion. They crossed the river and taken refuge in Navarre Castle." The Palaces? "Yes, Navarre Castle is one of our most preserved Resonant-era palaces outside of Palace. It is on a small islet of River Alka, directly at our border." "Palaces? Are you saying that they are after a medieval castle?" "No, Your Majesty, I would not say that. This is a highly symbolic though. Palace is the land of the Palaces. It is their national identity. The choice of the target definitely doesn't seem like a coincidence. The report from the border force states that our soldiers were patrolling just outside of the castle when they were shot at. And the casualties? 6 of our soldiers, Your Majesty." "And theirs? We don't know yet." May Saint Ruhek embrace their souls. Higo sighed heavily. There is something incredible shady about this. The timing and how the incident took place. I agree, we need more details. It is too early to be certain about anything. We are currently relying on the preliminary news we've received. According to one onlooker, the first shot was fired from our side directly at Politicalsim. But I find it hard to believe that. However, the report of the commanding officer implicitly states that we're attacked while they were on patrol duty. The squad on duty was forced to fall back. As a result, the Politicalsims managed to enter the castle. The commander reported they have surrounded them, but waiting for orders before taking any action. Okay, so here, eyewitness say, we shot. Commanding officer says, they shot us. Lorento looked at her skeptically. Mr. Escabel, what is your opinion? Your Majesty, it's perplexing. The Politicalsims gained nothing by occupying an old castle within our border, especially considering our cooperation. Yeah, that's what I feel. Like, why are they doing all of this? Someone is trying to sabotage our deal. I think that's clear. And who might that be? We need to consider all possibilities, Your Majesty. One obvious explanation is that this was an inside job. Someone who knows our patrols and our weakness at the borders. Lucilla gave him a furious stare. What are you implying about our intelligence, Mr. Escabel? Or the loyalty of our military officers? She shook her head. I don't want to believe this, but could it be that Axel Reinhardt never wanted peace with Rizia in the first place? Was the entire sale of gas field a charade? No. If that's true, then we fell right into his hand by delivering Vinna to Palace. I'm afraid that's the most likely scenario. There is also the possibility that the true provocators was someone else entirely, an external party who doesn't want us to sign a deal with Palace. Lesbia would certainly fit the bill. The chamber fell into a restless silence. The theory was plausible as it was terrifying. I looked upon my council, a tableau of concern and ambition and fear. First, we will get rid of the Palladian soldier who still have the audacity. We cannot allow the soldiers to kill our people and leave our soil unscathed. Make sure they are eliminated. We must not lead to the drumbeat of war, nor to its conclusion. We cannot afford to be hasty while Vinna is in their hands. We will not act until I talk to the Duke myself and had an explanation. Yeah, like they have the hostage now. The councillors fell silent, a questioning look on their faces. Understood, Your Majesty, but let us not delay. Every moment we ponder, Palace grows bolder. I agree with your decision, Your Majesty. We have to be calm if we want to find out the truth and reach an understanding with Palace. Our enemies will see hesitation as a weakness. If we don't show them there are repercussions for their actions, this will only embolden them. I believe His Majesty has already made his decision. The councillors fell silent. Was there anything else? I believe that was all, Your Majesty. The councillors bowed in respect and left the room. Oh boy. Now, even if like they take over the castle, we need to ask why. Because they haven't done anything of the sort up until this time. They're like willing to like, Palace is like able to like leave it to us. So that's why I don't know why are they doing this. King Romus traveling to Palace. Palace attacked Rizia. How to respond? Where is Vinna? King's party triumphant. Geopolitical. Polynesian troops cross into Rizia. Kingdom of Rizia intervenes in Bendonsam civil war. Okay. Palace, what's up? Our convoy drove steadily across the cobbled streets of Old Town Palace. It was my second visit to Polynesian capital since becoming King of Rizia, and the atmosphere this time was far more tense. The specter of the recent border incident cast a long shadow over our relation. I sensed it in the mood of everyone around me. Upon our arrival to Castle Reinhardt, we were greeted by the expressionless faces of the Polynesian delegation with no sight of the Duke himself. No pleasantries were exchanged and no diplomatic gestures were played to the cameras. We were instead quickly ushered inside as the reporters were blocked off. Nobody from my security detail nor the welcoming delegation spoke as we entered the room where the meeting was to take place. When Duke Reinhardt entered the room, everyone else left. He didn't speak a word until they were completely gone, completely alone. Your rush arrival here is the testament to gravity of our situation. I wish I could say your visit today brings me comfort, but under these circumstances, I find it hard to extend a warm welcome. I hope we can sort this problem out today, Grace. He extended his hand for a handshake. Shake his hand. I shook his hand and we both sat down. He stared at me, brow furrowed. Look, I do not intend to allow Palace to be pushed around by Rizia any longer. Wait, what? You really did that? So please listen to me very carefully. Okay. Do not interrupt. If you think I'll let Rizia use an orchestrated incident as as justification for, well, whatever you intend to do, you'll be wrong. Let's not start on the wrong foot, Your Grace. I'm aware of the incidents and I'm here for peace. Hold on a second. According to all reports, your soldiers shot first, and I seem to believe the report. Believe me, I'm on the same boat as you. Our report suggests that your soldiers shot first. I came here to get some answers. Your report suggests other lies, Your Majesty. We know that your soldier incited the incident. Our guards moved to the islet during the firefight simply because they were under fire. So please tell me, Your Majesty, what in the hell happened in Embark Castle? Let's get our facts straight, Your Grace. Our report suggests otherwise. You can't claim to be the source of truth. Regardless of who shot first, your soldier went inside the Rizia and occupied the castle in the process, so please don't try to blame Rizia. I'd like to know the same, Duke Reinhardt. The incident at our border is deeply regrettable. I assure you, Rizia seeks a peaceful resolution. The response received can be deceptive. I fear we are both victims of a larger game. It is not my desire, nor the desire of Rizia to escalate tension. We seek only to defend our sovereignty, as do yours. I think this is the most neutral one. Defend your sovereignty or expand it at the cost of ours. Reports suggest it was Rizian soldiers who fired first, instigating the conflict. And why would I believe the collision report? Those reports are not accurate, Duke Reinhardt. Rizia has no interest in provoking war. The situation at the border was a defensive response, triggered by movements we perceive as hostile. Okay, this one, like, it kind of like implying that they are doing it. So I was like, what will you gain from this, Your Grace? I don't know. He sighed. Look, Your Majesty, you speak of peace and cooperation, yet the action at the border tell a different story. At this very moment, our soldiers in that castle are surrounded by your forces. If you want to have a dialogue, they must first be allowed to leave. Of course, they'll be allowed to leave immediately. I think we need to leave Vina here, okay? I think we need to leave Vina here. The reason why is that Vina, she's acting as like a, it kind of seems like we're giving her a hostage, like giving them like reassurance by leaving her there. But I think that like she being there is kind of like a reassurance, okay? That we trust them. That's why like we are not gonna say, you know, we're not gonna take Vina back. But we do want to know that whether she's safe. Okay? That depends on the outcome of our meeting, doesn't it? I'm afraid that cannot happen. They need to surrender to us. Okay. In order to show a gesture of friendship, we need to like allow them to leave. But if they shot first, we will ask them to come back. Okay? And face justice. Good. Now, it is common for patrols to be near borders. It is another thing entirely to respond with gunfire. We're in close cooperation since we agreed on or deal on Aureus, and right before signing, this happens. This cannot be brushed aside as a misunderstanding. I'm not brushing anything aside. I suspect it could be an inside job. I do not and never would let... I do not and I never would underestimate the gravity of this situation, but you must not let this tragedy set the course for our nations. Are you going to threaten me? 3 is out. I don't want on number 2. I'm not brushing aside anything. It could be an inside job. An inside job from Rizia? So you also think that your reports are untrustworthy? No. No, I won't allow you to point fingers at Rizia. I think we should choose number 1 here, okay? Because like, we don't want to just suspect us. We want to suspect both sides. What are you insinuating at? We cannot rule out Palace, Your Grace. I don't think I can trust your word. I'm just saying it could be anyone. We simply cannot jump into conclusions. The disparity in reports precisely why a joint investigation is critical. We cannot rely solely on biased perspective. Look, Your Grace, I think there's someone else behind this incident. We can't point fingers at ourselves. We must work together. This seems like a plan to sabotage our rights on the Aureus. We made a deal. Duke Reinhardt, regardless of what happened, you cannot back away from it. I think this one here we need to like investigate it. Biased perspective. I would suggest Palace is fabricating its report. Not fabricating it, boss, but there is always a lens through which situations are viewed. Each side sees the other actions through a filter of suspicion and defense. Our goal should be to remove these filters and seek the objective truth. Yeah, I think this is good. Not pointing finger at Palace. It could be from Rizia as well. The objective truth is a slippery concept, Your Majesty. What is true for Rizia may not be. That's why we have to have like a joint investigation. You call for a joint investigation seems more like a tactic to buy time, perhaps to strengthen your position. On the contrary, Duke Reinhardt, delay benefits neither of us. The longer this tension persists, the greater the risk of escalation. Your Grace, we need to act swiftly and decisively to prevent a conflict that will be catastrophic for both our nations. One or two is roughly the same, but I think like we just point out we got nothing to gain from this. This is a great risk indeed. But can you assure me that this investigation will not be swayed by the powers at play? Regardless of the investigation, Rizia wants to continue our previous deal and preserve peace with Palace. Can you assure me of its if it's a possibility? Yeah, because like we spent like 5 budget on it. That's a whole turn budget on it. I propose we involve neutral and international observers in the investigation. Let them be our eyes and ears, free from biases of our national interests. I agree. That could be a way to ensure the investigation is not swayed by either side. Exactly. Whatever the finding, we should abide by them and take the necessary steps to rectify any wrongs and restore peace. Agreed. That would work, Your Grace. However, their finding must be accepted by both parties. This one is like, we might need to argue. But number 1 is like, we'll see, basically. And what if the investigation revealed that reveal action that cannot simply be rectified? What if they expose a deeper plot or intention? Then we face those revelations together and act in the interest of peace and justice. It is a risk, but one I believe we must take for greater good of our people. If our expectations are from the start are like this, how do we resolve the issue? If both sides want peace, why would any result change anything? Okay, I think number 1 is the best. You might be right. So you accept to conduct a joint investigation together with international partners or not? Yes, begin investigation. Listen, I suspect this revocation by another player in our region. We should be working together instead of suspecting each other. Okay. We will not take any actions until the results are in. But until we clear this up, we have to cancel the official signing of our deal for the time being. Until we have clear answers, Palace will not be transferring the extraction rights to Rizia. Can you give me any guarantee that you will sign the deal after the investigation? As long as Rizia's name has been cleared, I promise you, we will continue with the deal as promised. Thank you for coming to Palace. We both stood up and shook hands. Well then, have a nice day, Your Majesty. We'll see each other again soon. Oh, by the way, Miss Toras will be staying with us until the investigation is complete. He smiled broadly. I took one last look back as I went outside to rejoin Lorenzo and tell him what I agreed to. Wait, we can't see her? The Pelagian government thanks King Romus for a swift trip. Homeless rate in South. Oh god. The alignment of the 6 stars. Oh man, we need to like deal with the homeless. Fort Grazon Observatory Tower stood tall against the night sky, stars twinkling overhead as my motorcade arrived beneath it. However, it now functioned as more as a museum than a site for astronomical observation due to the city's light pollution. It served as a relic of Rizia's bygone era when the night sky's wonders were more easily unveiled. I come to meet with the Grand Wiseman Ignatius for the alignment of the 6 stars, a rare celestial event that occurred every 200 years and was celebrated by Rukists worldwide. It was going to be a difficult to get my mind off Vena's ongoing captivity in Palace, but I had to try. The alignment is sure to be impressive from that vantage point. Titus nodded towards the top of the tower. I heard the view is worth the climb. This is a waste of time. I'd rather concentrate on everything going on down below. Now, we need to like maintain an image. Like, what would they say if like a country that have like strong religious belief and the king like, you know, brushed this off? I can only imagine the perspective I have from above, witnessing grand astronomical convergence laid out before me. It offers a poignant reflection. I think this one's like maintain neutral. It truly is humbling, sir. Before long, Titus and I vacated our vehicle, entered the building, and ascended the spiraling staircase. We eventually reached the top. I was nearly out of breath, whereas Titus seemed to breeze through it without breaking a sweat. Give me a second. Be checking something out. Two guards greeted us at the door, one of whom opened it. I stepped inside while Titus remained behind. The dimly lit room carried the scent of aged books and burning incense, while candles cast a soft glow. Sal was hunched over an altar adorned with astrological charts and religious artifacts, seemingly unaware of my presence. As I watched him, I thought about what Lucida had told me regarding his possible role in my father's death. I reminded myself that Grand Wiseman was still under investigation. I had to be careful to avoid tipping him off to my suspicion. I hope I'm not interrupting anything. Startled, Sal raised his head to meet my gaze. Forgive my oversight, Your Majesty. I didn't realize you had entered. I've been immersed in arrangement for tonight's holiest of events. Think nothing of it. The Wiseman's face brightened. I'm delighted to have you here. Tonight's event promises to be truly exhilarating. Oh, I also wanted you to know that Vina is in my thoughts and prayers, and what Palace did was barbaric. Much appreciated, but it's been difficult, but I have faith she will return home safely. Later, as I was saying, it's remarkable that we are about to witness the same celestial alignment Saint Ruhak beheld so many years ago. You're acquainted with the story, aren't you? as I've been preparing myself for weeks. Vaguely, I mean, I know about it as much as the next person. I'm surprised to hear it. In that case, as we celebrate tonight's event, I'll be honored to retell the story. I've heard it before, but retelling would be welcome. Splendid. Thal cleared his throat and began to pace around the room. In the tenets of Ruhism, there unfolds a celestial saga, the alignment of the 6 stars. Imagine Saint Ruhek, our venerable fate's architect, embarking on a sacred sojourn into the cosmic vastness. Guided by divine insight, Saint Ruhek witnessed the cosmic bullet, grasping the profound significance of this alignment. With spiritual brilliance, he condensed the 11 pillars into 6, aligning them with the celestial bodies now recognized as planets. Wait, there's only 6 planets? Fascinating. I'm sorry to admit that I knew less of this than I thought. Didn't the library of Saint Ruhek in Lackhaven play a crucial role in this transformation? Very good, Your Majesty. You do know your history. The library, a nexus of knowledge and celestial observation, became the space where Saint Ruhek communed with the cosmos. Saint Ruhek perceived the alignment as a symbol of spiritual evolution, a journey towards a more harmonious interconnectedness of the cosmic and the holy realms. Isn't that godly? Each aligned planet embodying a pillar became a torch illuminating simplified teachings and testament to the diverse perspectiveness within Ruhism. If you remember Dirdia's leader, like before he gave and after he gave his speech, he like made like 6 signs or something like that. So this is about it. The alignment of the 6 stars acts as a celestial guide, directing the faithful on their journey to enlightenment. And that's what we are here to bear witness tonight. So it might be a bit constructive, it could have been shortened. I must say, you're quite the orator. Your recounting was truly stirring. Sal nodded appreciatively. If you follow me to the balcony, we can continue our discussion while bearing witness to tonight's event. I step into the cool evening air alongside Play Dark Souls 3. Now, I'm not a big fan of action games, okay? Like, action games are like one of my lowest priority. Kingdom Hearts is like a very, very rare, like, I like to play turn-based where I can like have the time to think it through. It's just like now where I can like, okay, if I do this, what will be the consequences of my action? Okay, so this is why like if you see most of my games, they are turn-based. Like I can argue, I can think, okay, should I take this choice, should I not make this choice? That's the like, and that's like the thing I like. I played it at 15 FPS. Well, if it's at 15 FPS, that's basically like cheating because you're playing like basically at Matrix mode, right? You know, like you're gonna be like Neo in Dark Souls. You're moving fast, everything moves slow. I step into the cool evening air alongside him. Port Raison sprawled beneath, its light flickering like stars in the night. However, when I gazed upward, there were no stars to be seen, nothing but clouds blanketing the sky. There are so many other things I could have been doing tonight. I sure will be able to witness the alignment tonight. It seems the heaven have other plans tonight. Maybe we'll give it 2. Cloudy sky may conceal the celestial wonders, but with patience, the beauty may yet be revealed. The cosmos has a language of its own. Tonight, it speaks of destiny and the intertwining of fates. As the one shaping Rizia's destiny, I speak its language fluently. Until then, let's pass time by speaking about the state of religious affairs in Rizia. One I look forward to hearing myself. Speaking of which, how do the people of Rizia interpret the cosmic language? Well, let's just ask him to talk. Saul eyes lit up, illuminated by a faint moonlight. I shall first speak of the prevailing religious factions within Rizia and their opinions on the crown thus far. The Ruhisis community seems to have a natural opinion on your reign. The fact that Archcentury Plavo continues to deteriorate has not sat well with them. With that said, I've been hearing complaints within the community about the crown's refusal to improve living standards for commoners. Yeah, I don't have the money. Like I want to spend money on improving the health and education, and then we have to like pass the workers' rights as well. Those two are tough. Okay, I think for now on, like we're in turn 6, maybe. I kind of forget where the main campaign is. It 8 or 10? It's something like that. So for now, we can just continue on, building on welfare. We already like, for me, I feel that we actually like have enough. For now, we actually have enough, like, economy to support our back. Enough economy, okay. Enough like infrastructure, in a sense. Okay, we already have the heavy industrial park. We have energy. Although we can improve on syllabus, but that can be left for later. We need to focus on welfare. With little help coming from the government, the onus is on the church to aid those most in need. I don't see a problem with that. Charity is religious principles or not. I understand. I see what I can do to better meet the needs of the lower classes. I don't want dependence on handout from the crown or the church. People must pull themselves by their own bootstraps. I see. Perhaps increased collaboration between the crowd and the church could make a difference in these vulnerable citizens' life. And I think I'll go with 2. I knew you were a generous and charitable king, your majesty. If the current situation continues, I'm afraid it may lead to mass discontent. Now, as for the Desnuris, their leader have confided in me that their congregation are not satisfied with your reign. Your refusal to fund Grand Sanctuary they requested in syllabus has notably diminished your majesty's likability in their community. They perceive it as a symbolic representation of the decline and neglect of their religious heritage within our kingdom. As a community composed of primarily Wexac and Rambergians, they have repeatedly petitioned for better treatment for foreigners. Sometimes difficult decisions must be made for the greater good, even if they impact personal likability. Difficult decisions indeed. As for the Gold Condors community, it goes without saying that the blasphemy law continues to strain relations. But your decision to allow Durian pilgrims to cross the country from Morella was met with widespread praise. However, your deportation of the pilgrim illegally occupying Plavo Archsanctuary was strongly denounced. By Gold Condors, I mean, I myself approve of it wholeheartedly. Overall, the Gold Condors' opinion of you is low. I would advise vigilance. Their radical belief, especially those of Durian Gold Condors, mean they may cause trouble if their needs are not met. I would like to speak to you more of Durdia. They are the one neighbor with whom I haven't had any diplomatic interaction, and a talk with Supreme Wiseman Asmal is long overdue. Enough about Rizia's religious community until me. I want to know what the opinion of Grand Wiseman Sal Ignatius. Maybe we'll talk to number 1. I will do my best to fill you in, your majesty. It goes without saying that the Durians' commitment to Golkondism permeates every aspect of their daily life, an integral part of their cultural identity. I admire their dedication, but Rizia has its own cultural identity to protect. Rizia is barely 50 years old as a country. They haven't had time to establish a cultural identity. I think number 1, we have to protect our own cultural identity. Absolutely. However, if you seek diplomatic relations with Durians, you must acknowledge that their legal system and religious doctrine are deeply intertwined, especially concerning our bans on Golkondis worship and homosexuality. The Durian perspective on this differs significantly, to put it mildly. Though we respect diverse views, Rizia laws remain steadfast. Seeking balance should fortify our conviction, not weaken them. It's a tightrope act, balancing Golkondis and mainstream Ruhi's interests. Our values guide our kingdom, while while compromise may be necessary, let's make sure it doesn't overshadow the principles we hold dear. All of these are good. Let's not like sway on either side. Let's just say it's a tightrope. More like walking on razor's edge. Nevertheless, I simply want to improve our diplomatic relationship in any way, shape, or form. The point is Rizia needs military help from Rizia regarding Zil. We just need to ensure it benefits them as well. In any case, I seek no diplomatic or material benefits. Instead, I aim to strengthen spiritual ties given our nation's profound religious connection. Okay, improve diplomatic relation. Of course, a united front with our neighbor, despite our religious differences, is more resilient against external challenges. You did not give in to Wag's pressure to ban Durdians from our borders. I believe you left the door open for future negotiation with their supreme wise men. That was my plan all along. I hope so. I still don't have assurances that it will foster a better relationship or lead a beneficial collaboration. With the bonus, I stood up to weakness Smolak. You might be singing a different tune if events in Zil go from bad to worse. Presence Smolak could make things very difficult indeed. And the last thing we need is another adversary on our doorstep. I appreciate your input, but international relations still falls under Lorenzo's purview. Stick to religion next time. We all desire peace and harmony, but realism dictates we must resort to the force if needed. Yet it still leaves me deeply conflicted. It's not bad. While international relationships are important, my foremost concern is the state of affairs within our borders. I think number 2. As it should, Your Majesty. No man of God makes use of violence without it weighing heavily on their conscience. A silence settled between us. Your Majesty, if I may speak candidly, I noticed a shift during your reign, particularly in matters related to the role of religion. While I believe you have the kingdom's best interests at heart, I worry that these changes might inadvertently erode the sanctity and devotion traditionally linked with our one true faith. I must confess, I took the failure to repair the Arch-Treasury Plavo following our visit rather personally. Simply put, I feel that the priorities as kings are not as aligned as the Kingdom Ruhis's roots as they should be. I urge you not to underestimate the power of our cherished religions, traditions, and to reconsider the role of Ruhism in government. Prioritizing earthly laws over celestial ones may be imperative to achieving unity. Our kingdom's strength is in the steadfast loyalty of its subject. First and foremost, I want them to have faith in me. Regardless of whether we are constrained by earthly or heavenly rules, both can be readily bent to secure one's goals. I think number 2 is the best. I'm suggesting that we alter the established religious order, one that has been stood unchanged for centuries. It is unity I seek above all else, and if religion in any manifestation can achieve that, I will wholeheartedly welcome it. I think number 2 is the best. Like, I do feel, personally, number 3 is what I want to say. To be perfectly honest, I feel that keeping Rizia under one harmonious banner might lead to further division and unrest within our borders. Like, this is what I really feel. But we don't want to like anger him because he's the leader of the religious community in the whole country. So we'll say number 2. It goes without saying that I'm partial to Rizia as a Ruhisan state, but I'll concede that there is more than one approach that could be considered. Those being, I understand to all available choices thoroughly to ensure that my decision is well informed. For starters, maintaining Rizia Ruhis's roots to preserve the status quo. Alternately, we could embrace a pluralist faith-based state, recognizing the diversity of beliefs in our realm. With both Ruhism and Dashmanism at the helm, I imagine. Lastly, I can't believe I'm saying this, you could separate religion from government entirely, taking a secular approach that will allow each citizen the freedom to navigate their faith independently. all of which, bear in mind, come with specific drawbacks and advantages. As difficult as it may be, can you paint a picture of what a secular state might look like? In a secular state, the governance would operate independently of religious influence. Policies and decisions would be based on law, absent of the influence of specific religious doctrine. It would potentially promote inclusivity by ensuring equal treatment for citizens of all faiths and those with none. But doesn't it risk losing the moral compass that religion often provides in governance? What are the drawbacks? Your Majesty, while equal treatment is commendable, it may lead to the loss of divine guidance in decision making. Without religious principle, the government may lack a moral compass, prone to wandering aimlessly. Additionally, straying from this path risks dishonoring our Ruhis's heritage and sacrifice our forefathers fought to uphold. Yes, religion obviously belongs in the kingdom's government. I was just curious what you say. I value our kingdom history but prioritize the progress and citizens' rights. A secular government may provide the solution. You've actually made a great case for secularism, Wiseman. To me, benefits outweigh the drawback. I think without a doubt I want to say this, but we have to respect him. We'll just say, thank you for indulging me on this, even if it clearly isn't your own cup of tea. You give me a lot to think about. It seems that our path, the path I choose for Rizia's religious future, could shape our kingdom profoundly. There's something else I wanted to ask you. It's regarding the role of religion in armed conflict. By all means, ask away. I seek some guidance regarding our escalating tensions. You may need to reclaim Zil through a less peaceful means to prevent its permanent loss to Westland. Tell me the religious context and implication of such action. Okay, I seek some guidance. I'll be more than happy to eliminate the spiritual facets intertwined with our current situation. What would you like to know? Does Ruhism condemn using force to reclaiming what's rightfully ours? I fear pacifism is just a convenient excuse for inaction. There may come a time when I need to explain our actions to our people from a religious perspective. What does Ruhism say about it? As Ruhisists are committed to peace, but what if violence is needed to maintain the peace? I think maybe we can say number 2. Your Majesty, the principle of Ruhism promotes peace, unity, and the pursuit of harmony. Such conflict, or war to put it simply, contradicts these principles and gives rise to both suffering and discord. However, in the sacred text, we find instances where war was deemed just, a means to protect the divine order. I respect the pursuit of peace, but I'm curious about the strength and ambition that can coexist with our faith. And how do we know if going to war with Palace aligns with the sacred text? Justified. That wasn't what I was expecting to hear. Please continue. Certainly, in simple terms, the scripture acknowledged the war, conflicts fought in defense and divine message, or to protect the pillars of enlightenment. Yet, we must scrutinize our motives. Is our cause just, or are we swayed by ambition? War should be the last result, employed only when all avenues of peace have been exhausted. Yep, that's why diplomacy is number 1. I value divine guidance, but my priority is the well-being of my people. Therefore, I align our faith with the path that ensures our realm's prosperity. Good. We need to ensure our motives for war are not rooted in personal benefit and for the greater good. Yet relying solely on war as a final option might lead to overlook opportunities or even outright defeat. 3 out. Either 1 or 2. I'm leaning on 1. Or maybe 2. Yeah, 2 is like quite secular. We must be vigilant for the divine. Oh, if war becomes necessary, Your Majesty, it should be approached with solemn determination guided by righteousness. We must be vigilant, for the divine does not condone unjust action, even in the face of conflict. With all due respect, religious dogma is just a guiding tool, not a master. I believe this war is just. In defending ourselves, we preserve our cherished value and traditions. Then I need to ensure my next move is this conflict aligns with the principle of Ruhism, as provided by our sacred text to justify it. Look, I believe prayer does as much as good as shouting at the wind, same as trying to evoke justification for war through religious doctrine and beliefs. I think this one will say 3. I have faith that you will. Anyway, that's all I have to say on the matter. I look up again to see the clouds that dispersed, which they had not, and I let out a sigh. It seemed that at the rate our situation was progressing, it would be morning before skies would have been free from obstruction. I then shifted my gaze back to the palace, a place that brought memories of my father where he drew his last breath, and how the man standing before me could have played a direct role in his demise. Speaking of divine justice, you've made the case for war can be justified. What about murder? Ruhism emphasized on sanctity of life, but it also acknowledged the harsh realities of our world, such as the war. However, murder is an unjustified killing and stands in direct contradiction to the teaching of Ruhism. I must say, the deeper my comprehension of Ruhism, the more contradiction appear to surface. And how does one decide what's just and what isn't? So in the eyes of our faith, there's a distinction between the two. Our faith acknowledges tough decisions in war, but condemns unjust killings outside those situations. Testing the boundaries of divine principles is a delicate balance. How do you envision handling such a situation if you are in my position? Even if it's for the greater good, like a homicidal maniac or cruel despot, perhaps? I want to ask this. There's certainly convenience in the divine text's cryptic vagueness, as if deliberately leaving room for interpretation. How do you envision handling? Well, on top of the needing more context, I would handle such scenarios on a case-by-case basis before answering. I see. Well, I do hope such dilemma never present themselves. You and me both. It was hard to discern Sal's true sentiments behind his half-hearted smile. You've given me a lot to think about. It seems the path I choose for religious future could shape our kingdom profoundly. Maintaining the fidelity to Ruhism is crucial, yet I'm cautious about repercussions should we persist without change. Agree with number 1. I see the value in adapting to the change of time, but with it brings its own set of problems. Maintaining unity within our kingdom is paramount. This is why removing religious influence from governments may be the best choice, though it could provoke significant backlash. I think number 1. I do share your concerns, however, I would encourage you to not take a course of action that undermines the core principles of one true faith. I continue looking out over the city as the echoes of Sal's counsel reverberated in my mind. I knew any path I choose regarding Rizia's religious future carried the risk of creating a backlash if I chose to change anything at all. As the question consumed my thoughts, the heavens seemed to respond. The thick clouds that veiled the sky suddenly dispersed, revealing the fabled alignment. 6 planets shone above us in a perfect arc, each brighter than the last. Below the city behind the city hushed as onlookers collectively witnessed the extraordinary phenomenon. My god, it's even more breathtaking than I could have ever imagined. A divine spectacle indeed. Sal was too enthralled with the spectacle to hear me. The 6 tenets of Ruhism, Your Majesty, each of them a guiding beacon in the darkness, shedding light on our past and the days to come. I remember the vision Sal foretold during the consecration of King ceremony. Fractured crown, soldiers and war, the lovers, swarms of birds and 3-headed monsters. Now I know how Saint Ruhek felt all those years. Much like your visions in the catacombs, the alignment speaks to me. Sal looked at me, his eyes appearing to convey a shared understanding. Your Majesty, I must know. After all our talk, what are your thoughts on our Kingdom of Rizia's governance? Choosing a secular path would liberate our kingdom from religious influence, fostering true communal enlightenment. An uncomfortable silence settled between us. Even the knight seemed powerless to conceal his anger. I'm sorry to say I cannot endorse this point of view. It would risk severing the ties that bind us culturally and spiritually. And you're coming dangerously close to using the language of Malayanism. But an overly religious approach might also fracture the cultural and spiritual foundation that holds our kingdom together. Taking such approach is essential to ensure a governance that respects all beliefs and promotes unity. Maybe ties should be severed. It's about time something was done about it. Rizia's present spiritual connections serve as a manipulative tool, akin to extremist doctrines and deceptive narratives. I think maybe I should say one. I beg to differ. Religious approach can enhance unity rather than sow division. You sure? I don't wish to contradict you, Your Majesty. My duty has and always be to the crown. However, this may lead to significant moral decline. I believe the alternate path would be better preserve the spiritual integrity of our realm. Perhaps there is merit in your words. I'll give due consideration to other possibilities. I think you should say number one. I hear your plea. Will certainly take your words into consideration. Thank you, Your Majesty. As always, I'm here to serve. It's been a pleasure speaking to you on this momentous occasion. I'm honored that we could witness it together. Saul and I said goodbye before we parted ways. As I stepped out of the room, Titus greeted me with a brief bow. I hope everything went as expected, yes, sir. Yes, the alignment was quite behold. You'll see. More or less though, I thought that I would have been happier just as to read about the alignment in tomorrow's papers. If went by expected, you mean listening to an old man drone about nothing, then yes. Just say number one. After descending the observation tower and stepping outside with Titus, I was again greeted by the celestial phenomena above. Titus momentarily stopped in his tracks to gaze overhead. It was then I realized that was his first time seeing it. This is astonishing. I've never seen anything like it before. Yes, one could get lost in the display. Lost, but in the best possible way. After absorbing the spectacle for the final moments, Titus directed me to a waiting motorcade, and I continued my journey back to the palace. I do hope you will move as much as I was. If anything, I feel more pessimistic about the future. The misalignment of faith, governance, and celestial forces above, to name a few. Did nothing but shroud the path. The alignment filled me with optimism for the future. Fills me with optimism. As we headed back to the palace, Titus and I discussed destiny and the intricate workings of fate as guided by the stars above. Ooh, remove state religion. That one, I should not do that first. I should not do that. If I do that, that's like gonna be like a huge backlash. We need to like do it gradually, okay? Like we need to like remove the things one by one. Race-based income tax. Allow free pass RPP. Oh, we cannot do this. If we do this, like it's gonna be terrible. Can't do anything. I don't have any budget. Like I say, the two things that I need to focus on is workers' rights. -2. Oh my god. Workers' rights and what's this? Increased health and education funding. Both of them, like, it's quite expensive. -2 budget. Bill syllabus. Like, I don't see. Let me see. MIT's revenue, per turn from pipeline, Palace trade, Wetland trade. Like, I don't see the improvements from me building the ITA though. I don't see improvement from building the heavy industrial park. Oh well. Let's see. Anti-Planetary Society Million Man March ends in cosmic failure. Oh, I'm interested in this. The first annual launch of an event meant to bring together millions of like-minded anti-planet activists fizzled out before leaving the atmosphere. Organized by the group Anti-Planetary Society against the backdrop of alignment of the Six Stars, the march was held outside the arc century of Plavo as a protest against the commonly held belief in other planets in our universe. However, instead of expected 7-figure turnout, they managed to gather just 7 attendees. We had such high expectations, said Dickie Goobley, president of the Fringe organization. The misguided belief in the theory of planet is one of the greatest tragedies of our times. It's harming our society and indoctrinating our children's mind with fake science. Given the March virtual non-existent attendance, it begs the question, was the dismal turnout in fact a sign from the heavens? It's basically like a group of, like, you know, flat earthers here. Celestial Spectacle unveil, alignment of 6 stars captivates Rizzian skies. Arcadia fires the M4 ICBM. Yeah, this is dangerous because, like I say, if we make Lesbia angry, we might be the target for this, you know? That's why, like, I didn't push to steal his share. Okay, investigation results. It was early in the morning. Lucida and I were about to depart for a royal visit to Terrador Air Force Base when I got urgent summons from Hugo. I walked through the council chamber's door to find my uncle and foreign affairs counselor waiting for me. Mr. Escabel, Your Grace, to what do I owe this interruption? Two men glanced at each other. Your Majesty, we have received the result from the joint investigation into the Polynesian border incident. Quite simply, our earlier hypothesis that the attack was incited by Palace or staged by a third party were not borne out. Instead, all evidence seemed to indicate an inside job, one mastered by the by. He took a deep breath. He couldn't bring himself to go on. Hugo? The named culprit was Lucida Azaro, Your Majesty. How certain are they? Lorento frowned. The report they sent seems to heavily indicate Duchess Azaro's involvement in what happened. The investigators secured a testimony from the commanding officer of Fort Alice Garrison. Apparently, he told his men to fire on the Polynesians on Duchess Azaro's order. He was then coerced into altering reports of the incident suggest that Palace was who shot first. Remember, the witness actually say, "We shot." Lucida would have been an idiot to think she could get away with that. And we trust this officer? What if he's the one who organized everything? How could she do this while my daughter was still in Palace? She should have known that there was a risk Rina would be caught up in it. Okay, why don't we ask, can we trust this officer? The man record is spotless, but we cannot rule out that possibility. Hugo sighed heavily. To me, these results don't add up. It is far more likely that Palace or someone else is trying to paint Rizia as the aggressor and sabotage our gas deal. I agree that this is far from a clear-cut case. Lesbia had officials on the investigation committee after all. But we still have a chance to salvage our gas deal and our diplomatic relationship with Palace. We just have to ensure the blame for the border falls fully on Duchess Zaro's shoulders and not ours. It is obvious to me that Latvia played a role, most likely hoping that Palace could use the investigation as a result as grounds to cancel our gas deal. Palace wants to take our best military strategies off the chessboard. Rather suspicious that I think maybe we can say one. Yeah, but I think like it makes sense though, because right before she, right before when we tried to go for like a diplomatic solution, she was unhappy with that. That's great news. The Azaro trader will face justice and our deal can proceed as planned. If she is innocent or if she's not, the fallout from House Azaro will be disastrous. Not as disastrous as that from the international community should we fail to acknowledge the result of the investigation. An aide rushed into the chambers with the blue telephone. Duke Reinhardt was calling. Hugo and Lorenzo stayed silent in the background as I pick up the receiver. King Romus, I assume you received the same report as I did? Yes, I can't believe my own counsel would betray me like that. Tell me, Your Grace, did Palace or Latvia have a hand in this investigation result? I was hoping I didn't, because this... Can't believe my own war counselor. Were you really so surprised, Your Majesty? The volume of his voice rose. Your war counsel's father got us into this entanglement to begin with. With this gas deal, you were about to acknowledge my country's sovereignty and take the possibility of a second invasion completely off the table. Obviously, she wouldn't stand for that. Our fathers do not determine destiny. Admit it, you don't want Rizia to acknowledge Polynesian sovereignty. It's far more convenient for you to play the victim. Whatever she did, she acted alone. Neither I nor my other councillors had any knowledge of it. I believe you. Please, Your Majesty, make this easy for both of us. Arrest the Azaro woman and we can get on with this deal and on with our life. I still have my suspicion about the legitimacy of the finding, but for the sake of lasting peace between our nation, Duchess Azaro will face justice. Rest assured that my war council will be punished for a treasonous act. I'll personally make sure she is shown no mercy. I'm sorry, Your Grace, but I cannot acknowledge. Your Grand Duchy has double-crossed me for the last time. I think we have to say number one. There was a long silence on the other end. Lorenzo and Hugo sat by with bated breath as I awaited the Duke's response. Very good, Your Majesty. I'm glad we were able to resolve this hiccup in a civil manner. Arresting the heir to one of Rizia's most important noble families is far from a little hiccup, Duke Reinhardt. I hope you appreciate that. So am I. I'm certain this unpleasant affair won't even make it into the history book. So I'll guess deal with on exactly before. Okay, maybe say number one. I do. Needless to say, Princess Vina shall be returned home at once. Although I confess, I've grown rather fond of having her around. Lorenzo let out a long exhale of relief. Hugo's expression didn't change. Thank you for seeing reason, Your Majesty. We lost Lucida, but like I say, I thought she would actually be more level-headed, you know? I'll see you at your deal signing. We hung up. Lorenzo, Hugo, and I looked at each other. Nobody spoke for a moment. Well, as Riza Imperi police are under Miss Azaro's command, I ordered the Golden Guard to detain the Duchess until a proper arrest can be made. Tell them to tell her I'm sorry. I will. I thought about the way Lucida had looked at me in callous. I had told her I'll take her on a date someday. We'll never get that chance now. Still lost in my thoughts, I watched as Hugo and Titus into the room and told him he had work to do. Oh boy. Duchess Lucida Azaro arrested for treason. International community calls Parisian Parisian handling of incident exemplary. Countries across the world have applauded the way Rizia and Palace handled their recent border incident, after Rizia's arrested those responsible as soon as their role in the plot was revealed. Officials from both ATO and CSP indicated their satisfaction that the incident didn't spiral into a wider conflict. Yeah. But we lost our only, love interest here. That's pretty sad. Can you give me a moment? I want to, go to the... go and take some water. Give me a moment. Can I go to the toilet? Okay, we're back. Okay. Investigation reveals Lucida instigator of the border incident. Investigation reveals Lucida instigated the border incident. The joint investigation into the border incident between Palace and Rizia has unearthed an unlikely culprit, Lucida Azaro. The Duchess of Condensed Monte Claro and Council of War was revealed to have staged the incident in order to provoke a wider conflict with Rizia and Palace. Lucida Azaro detained for treason. Golden God captured. Her request was denied. Can we see her? Palace. Official signing of the Aureus Agreement. For the third time since my coronation, our convoy drove steadily across the cobble streets of Old Town Palace. The city was familiar to me by now, but the atmosphere was much more cheerful and cordial than it had been during my last visit. I was here to finalize our deal with Duke Reinhardt. After today, Rizia would own the rights to the Aureus gas field and fully operational pipeline to go with it. I want to applaud you again, Your Majesty, for your decisive actions. We very narrowly avoided an international incident. We couldn't have done it without your help, Mr. Escabel. Much obliged. Upon our arrival to Castle Reinhardt, we were greeted by the smiling face of Parisian delegation as well as Duke Reinhardt waiting for us by the front gate. After exchanging pleasantries, we were led inside. The light of the cameras nearly blinded us as we walked in. We took our seats around a large table along with the delegates from each country Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Welcome back, Your Majesty. It's a delight to have you here with us once again. I'm looking forward to settling the Aureus business and paving the way for a thaw between Palace and Rizia once and for all. It is a pleasure to be here under such promising circumstances. This deal will mark a new chapter for both our country. Pleasure to be here. I must also thank your daughter. It's rare that a princess has such a knack for diplomatic intricacies. Vina blushed and bowed her head. We will finalize the official details right now. Everything that happens afterwards is just for show. So he gestures at the assistants in the room. They quickly place enormous files on the table. Rizia has agreed to purchase the sole right to extract resources from the Aureus field. The assistants place all the necessary papers in front of us to sign the papers. The room broke into a lengthy round of applause. To our future partners. To international cooperation. After exchanging congratulations, we were led outdoors into the courtyard, where a stage had been set up for the ceremony. As we stepped on the stage, applause from the crowd blended with the loud music from speakers and the clicks of camera shutters, overwhelming me for a few seconds. And we stood in front of the massive board with an illustrative map of the Antician, depicting the Aureus field as a bridge connecting Palace and Rizia. The stage itself was an outlandish construct, dominated by a colossal replica of the pipeline with a gigantic valve wheel at its center. The valve was painted in garish colors and connected to a series of exaggerated cartoonist pipes that snaked their way across the stage and complete with artificial steams, vents, and blinking lights. Lorenzo leaned in and whispered, "I certainly didn't expect this." Well, a deal is important, deserve a spectacle. I can't debate that. He pointed at a mock rig surrounding the stage. There were a series of artificial geysers engineered to spout water and colored lights at time intervals, simulating the dramatic discovery of natural gas. The geysers were choreographed to erupt in unison with the crescendo of the music. Organizing this must have cost as much as the drilling facility itself. As the music came to an end and the applause subsided, I took a closer look at the crowd that was gathered. Politicians, journalists, energy executives in their best formal attire were standing somewhat awkwardly amidst this bizarre setting. They cast amused glances as the entertainers who mingled among them performers dressed as engineers and geologists, complete with exaggerated large yellow helmets. What is this? The village people? Duke Reinhardt then took the microphone and started explaining the importance of Aureus and the deal that has been finalized. After congratulating the delegates and thanking me, he turns toward me, and I invite His Majesty King Romus of Rizia. I took the microphone amidst the applause. Ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, I would like to thank Duke Reinhardt for inviting us to attend this grand ceremony. Duke Reinhardt, my friend, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for your understanding and cooperation over these past few years. We were to celebrate a truly significant event, a testament to our country's unbreakable bonds and ever-growing ambition. Despite a recent deterioration of Rizian-Palagian relations, we have come together to achieve a historic agreement, a testament to true diplomacy and our mutual desire for cooperation. Yeah, I think we should say this. Thanks to our cooperation with Palace, Rizia will soon be transporting billions of cubic meters of natural gas. This is kind of like robbing them. I'm honored to announce the official agreement between our countries. This project has many benefits, not only for our people and our country, but also the neighbors and the region as a whole. I like to note that extracting and transporting gas is not as easy as one might think. It will be a great undertaking. Thanks to the support and professionalism of our Pelagian counterparts, future deals will be completed in a flash. And we just say number one. I'm certain that in the future, Rizia and Palace will implement many more mutually beneficial joint projects, whether in energy or in other fields. I think that's good. I must point out that we live in a volatile region with conflicts over resources, ideology, and religion brewing on all fronts. Let Rizia and Palace serve as an example to all those around us. Not bad. It is my intention that Rizia continue on the path of peaceful conflict resolution. We will remain one of the most reliable trading partners in Merkopa. I would like to congratulate Polynesian leadership for displaying a political courage and will to accomplish this extraordinary partnership. Number 4 is out. Maybe we'll say number 1. Because I wanted to come back to Rizia. Before I finish, I would also like to say a few words about the tragic events that occurred recently. Before I finish, I would like to highlight the importance of Polynesian-Rizian friendship to the Southern Merkopa. Before I finish, I would like to highlight now how important it is for the monarchies of Merkopa to stick together. I would like to highlight the importance of Polynesian-Rizian friendship to the Southern Merkopa. Both of our countries are important exporters of natural resources. I believe energy giants like us have a responsibility to the region, and today we are showing the world that we take the duty seriously. My kingdom believes that our partnership with our neighbors are our greatest asset. We shall continue to foster those partnerships, even at the expense of our own wealth. The Kingdom of Rizia sees people of Palace as our own brothers and sisters. Let today step forward to a unity between us. Yes, make them come to us! Now let the inauguration of the Palace Streamline Pipeline begin. As a closing word, I would like to thank everyone who has worked so hard on the design and construction of this gas pipeline, the engineers and builders, as well as the employees of all the contractors involved. I think this one's the best. Thank you and have a good evening. Oh, we have to say this, man. We got like glorious Rizia and Palace. The crowd roared with applause. I gave the microphone back to Duke Greenheart. He shook my hand and beckoned me to follow him. As the moment of the ceremonial valve turning approached, we walked to the massive valve in the middle of the stage and placed our hands on it, posing for the cameras as we did so. If this is Smolak, he'll probably be jealous of me. Get Princess Vina up here. This honor belongs to her as well. My daughter eagerly bounded up on the stage. Together, the three of us turned the wheel. Instead of the expected mechanical turn, the speakers erupted with the sound of whistle and party horns. The music swelled and the gazes went off in unison, enveloping the area in a colorful mist. Through the fog, I noticed Vina and the Duke Palace grinning at each other. Wait! 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 She... Oh my god! Vina! Vina! I thought you had Saison up. Oh... She's been a bad girl. In the car, I glanced over at Power Audia's plate, a celebratory gift from the Rizian Oil Gas Corporation, sitting snugly on the seat next to me. I couldn't help but feel relief once we were finally out of Palace. Stat increase. My god, did you see that? +8, what the heck? Wow! Rufus Greg Rogoth said, Vixel? No, Venice. Diplomatic, more excuse for she had get to know each other. Her Highness returned from Grand Duchy as single as ever, but not for long. In fact, no sooner had she landed on Rizian soil, she rushed straight into the house of... Wait, is she interested in Reinhardt or Saison? What the hell? Vina! Vina! Sovereign Memorial Commemoration. The National Mausoleum, high in the hills above Port Raison, embraced me in its stately presence. I was here for the annual Sovereign Memorial Commemoration, a ceremony honoring the former monarchs of Rizia. Arriving early before the ceremony began, I entrusted Hugo with overseeing the event, seeking a moment alone. Adorned with the statues and inscription of the monarchs from eras long past, the mausoleum stood as witness to the enduring legacy of Rizia. As its hushed corridors, I sought solace not as a king, but as a man burdened with the whispers of history. I had also come to honor the memory of my late wife, Lena, whose resting place could be found within this hallowed ground as well. Vina, of course, was by my side. Her demeanor had become much more solemn since her return from Palace. She clasped her hands tightly around the bouquet she was holding. Feels like we were just here. Miss her so much. We're here because it's what people do. They come, they remember, and they move on. Yes, but time moves on, so we must as well. Your mother's presence is timeless. It's only right we revisit this place. We all do, dear. She always with us in our hearts. I know, but I'm still filled with regret. It was my own pleading that steered us into that storm. We should have never set foot on the boat. You were a child. I was on that boat too. I could have saved her. The storm wasn't your doing. You need to move past this fixation with what you have been. Blame yourself for the storm won't bring her back. It's not your fault, Vina. You couldn't have predicted it. It was a tragic accident. Mistake number 2. Acknowledging it doesn't make the guilt disappear. It's not that simple. Acknowledging that you were responsible for the death of the love of my life won't bring comfort to neither of us. Your mother wouldn't want you carrying that burden. We still have each other. You don't know how scared I was losing you during the palace incident. Your mother passing was a part of life. It's important to find strength in the memories and support each other through this challenging time. I think number 3 is the best. You were never in danger of losing me, father. I can take care of myself. It wasn't long before we reached her mother's tomb. Vina set the bouquet in a marble vase next to the sarcophagus. I gathered these roses from the royal garden. They're the absolute best. We shared a quiet moment without words. I stared at the tomb, allowing memories of Lena and the boat accident to flood my mind. I was on the verge of becoming lost in thoughts when a voice called to me from behind. Well, there you are. Well, fancy meeting you here. She hadn't attended a sovereign memorial commemoration since father's passing. At my age, surprises are as rare as non-grey hairs. Don't act as though my present is some extraordinary revelation. As for the record, I can still navigate these halls without assistance, thank you very much. Vina, I'm so glad you made it to Rizia in time to pay your respect. She embraced her granddaughter, then held her at arm's length. I say your time among the Polynesians has done wonders for you. You lost weight. Vina smiled patiently. If I did, it was by accident. I ate very well over there, even after the incident. Candlelit dinners with His Grace? Do tell me more. Grandmother, I will remind you that I'm spoken for. Speaking of which, I'm going to meet Manus for a short walk before the ceremony. He didn't feel like joining you here? Lena would have hated to see her daughter dating a Ceylon. I understand. His duty as a delegate must keep him busy. We felt it only be more appropriate to limit visiting Lena to family only. If by we mean you. I agree with your father. Just because he's courting the king's daughter doesn't mean he has special privileges. Her eyes swept across the room, coming to rest on Lena's grave. Forgive my lack of decorum. I should treat this day with the gravity it deserves. Gradually she drew near, her eyes conveying unexpressed sentiment. She reached out and took Vina's hand, giving it a gentle squeeze. She was an extraordinary woman, your mother. I even go as far as say she was like a daughter to me. I wish I'd known her as well as you did. Really, mother, like a daughter? You never met a noble woman you didn't disparage. I had no idea you felt that way about her. Come now. You know I'm not one for garish displays of emotions. But it's true. I did grow to love her dearly. Smile in fond recollection. I remember the precise moment my feelings towards her changed. It was just after the civil war broke out in Wackland. The two of you were at Palace Resna for dinner. Lena and I left for tea after you and your father got into another one of your rows. Up until then, I was adamant that Rizia should accept as few Wagzag refugees as possible. However, as we discussed the situation, she made such a convincing case for empathy and kindness that I was literally moved to tears. Then I had this way of seeing past politics straight to the heart of the matter. As the next day, I persuaded Valero to open our borders. There were tears in Vina's eyes. That's beautiful. I had no idea. That sounds like her, putting compassion ahead of common sense. You describe her exactly. Every time I make a role decision, I try to see the humane side of it, the way she would. I never knew so many lives were saved thanks to that one conversation. If only she was around to talk to Wicked Small like now. I knew she would have been proud of the person you become, Vina. Look at how you handle yourself in Palace. The perfect example of royal grace and dignity. It's very kind of you, Mother. Vina indeed handled herself like a true princess. Yes, she has indeed shown remarkable strength and resilience. Kind of you, Mother. Even as Vina tried to conceal her feeling, a subtle tremor in her lips and a heavy sigh betrayed her inner turmoil. Please excuse me. Vina hurried out of the room before anyone could respond. Poor dear, he's been through so much. If anyone deserves to settle down for a nice husband, it's her. She looked at me pointedly. It seems this candle lacks a suitable man of good stature. Vina is free to marry whoever she chooses. You of all people should understand the importance of love following one's heart. I don't need a lecture for the importance of love and freedom, thank you. Either way, it needs to happen sooner rather than later for our family to secure its place on the throne. I'm getting sidetracked. In case you're wondering, which I know you are, I'm here to finally pay your father a visit after finding this. My mother reached into her handbag and held up a weathered envelope. Take the envelope. A love letter from your father, the first one he ever wrote. I want to honor him by giving it back. What'd it say? He took the letter back. That's between your father and me. Come, let's see what he's up to. My mother left the room, and I followed behind. We made our way down the Great Hall, past the resting places of the great leaders and some not so great who came before me. It wasn't long before the lights from the eternal flame, a single torch placed at the late king's sarcophagus, symbolizing a monarch's enduring reign, guided us the rest of the way. As we neared, my mother pace slowed as if waves of memory pressed upon her. If it's becoming too much of you, I'll understand. Your concern is appreciated, but I'll be fine. The flame's flickering glow cast dancing shadows on our path. We stopped just before we reached my father's stone encasing. There you are. We both fell silent. In the royal tradition, deceased kings were initially entombed here. However, upon passing of the succeeding monarch, a solemn ritual was observed, relocating the late king to rest alongside their forebearers. If you don't mind, I'd like to say a few words to your father. I'll give you some privacy. I gave her some space to allow for a moment between the two of them. She spoke to him in a harsh whisper, for much longer than I expected. Whatever she had to say obviously meant something. When she finished, she took out the love letter and placed it on the sarcophagus. I took this as my cue to return. That he rest in peace as his legacy lives on. Memories and legacy are just an illusion in the grand scheme. What's the use of legacy if it doesn't change anything for the living? Legacy. I doubt history will be very kind. I'm not speaking of his action on the throne. His legacy is you. A reminder to choose our path with care. A heavy burden to bear, a name forever stained by the judgment of time. Yes, unfortunately my father and my legacies are intertwined. He may not have been the perfect man, but his responsibilities are now yours. Actions matter, but how you carry the family name matters equally. Your choices will shape our legacy. What happened is what matters is what I do, not what the name did. My actions speak louder than my family name. I'll forge my path. I'll ensure the name stands strong, even if it means shouldering the weight alone. I can't escape the shadow of his choices, no matter what path I forge. My actions. Don't underestimate the power of a name. Your actions will reflect not just on you, but on your family as a whole. Sometimes, the most profound responsibilities are the ones we inherit, not by choice, but by destiny. It is as if there are subtle forces at play, nudging us toward responsibility we never choose, but are fated to fulfill, much like Father. I'll embrace whatever responsibility destiny throws at me, be it triumph or defeat, much like my father. Father path proved its choices, not fate, that shape our destiny. Destiny or not, I strive to leave a legacy that stands apart from the mistakes of my father. Bringing Zil back into our fold will rectify his mistake of giving it away so freely. Surrendering Zil was one of Riza's greatest tragedies. That's why Rizia? Isn't it Rizia? That's why I intend to do everything possible to see it return. Reclaiming Zil will honor his memory by finishing what he started. Your words would have been a source of pride for him, as they are with me. Sometime in life, we are required to face risks and challenges head-on, whether from hostile actors or simple gossip. Risk. This comes from the person who's been secretly practicing dexterity right under my nose, or so the rumor says. Give me a second. I do hear whispers that speak of a queen secretly practicing dexterity under the guise of being a secretly devout follower of Ruhism. A sharp intake of breath escaped her lips as the unexpected revelation hit her. I don't know what you're talking about. Well, that's a leaf. I guess I can close the case on that one. What was I thinking? Come on, mother. I know all about it. I'll quit playing dumb. You know very well what I'm saying true. Well, I have first-hand accounts that will say otherwise. Let's say, come on, mother. I know about it. She held her ground, her eyes piercing through mine. However, too much time passed, she yielded, sighing in resignation. Call faith for a reason. It's not something you casually discard. I refuse to apologize or renounce my belief to appease anyone's expectations. And I'll be damned if you think otherwise. The lingering sound of her final words reverberated through the chambers. Look, I honestly don't care what you believe in. I just wish you'd been forthright about it. True. So it is true. I hope in due time I can learn to overlook this deception. Can't say I'm disappointed. Can't say I'm not disappointed. But it goes without saying that you shattered my trust. I'm sorry. I meant no offense, mother. I allowed myself to get caught up in the moment. Say number one. You're right. I should have been forthright with you, and for that, I'm truly sorry. Please understand. If word got out about my belief, it could jeopardize your position as king and incite unrest among those with opposing views. My intention was to shield you from danger and ensure the stability of the kingdom, even if it meant keeping a part of myself hidden. The only soul who knew the truth was your father. As king, and more importantly, as my son, you had the right to know, and I'm sorry. I'm not sure if I had the strength to do the same in your position, but grateful for your efforts to safeguard me and the kingdom. I can't imagine the burden you carry, especially after father's passing. And for that, I'm in your debt. You have nothing to apologize for. While I can't help feeling a bit hurt, I know you did it with the best intention. And yeah, I think this is the best. Thank you, my son. Raining someone's trust isn't easy to come by, especially after it's broken. He reached out and gently touched my arm before kissing me and tenderly on the cheek. It was then we heard the far distant ringing bells of the Archangel of Zilba begin to chime. It's time for the ceremony to begin. Right, almost forgot all about it. I'm sure Vinna is wondering where we are. Then we best be off. Before departing, I cast a final glance at my father's resting place, and a rush of memories flooded my mind. Since you're being honest with one another, know that father's legacy and opinions of me are of no concern, but I'm determined to correct his mistake by achieving what he couldn't. Before we go, you should know that I would intend to uphold father's legacy. I will do right by him by rejuvenating this nation in accordance to his wishes. Before we part notice, I shape my own legacy free from expectation. I'm determined to correct his mistakes. Very well. I trust you know what's best. I'll pray for you. Mother went on ahead of me and remained behind to have a final moment with father. Once alone, I reached into my inner jacket and took out an envelope. The last letter my father ever wrote to me. Find your own way, son. Find your own way, my son. May your footsteps have imprints unknown to the echoes of my yesterdays. His final words. Keep the letter. I considered consigning the letter to the flames as my mother did, but in the end, I decided to hold on to it for safekeeping. I departed soon after, leaving my father to his solitude. Dang, man. 8 energy. Damn. Okay. So I think this is where we end. The Art of War. Oh my god, we're still gonna go to war? I avoided. I did my best to avoid it. Woo. Oh, +4. +9, holy shit! Is the housing crisis gather speed? As predicted years ago, the housing crisis that plagued Port Raison has spreading to other Port Raison commuter town hit by a housing crisis. Coastal batteries fire as expanded docks open. Escaris gas field expansion. We're getting from MITs, well, from Morella, +3 from trade. Holy damn. Top S, Royal Jet. Decide on whether to name the Royal Private Jet if you choose to have one. Why the heck do we have a choice to name it as the Rizzler? The King's Wings. Oh, look at that. Look at that. It feels so good. Look at the stats. Holy. But should I go on a little bit more? You know what? The first thing I want to do is this. Okay. Lot initial global energy sale. We gotta sell, man. We gotta get some budget. Oh, that feels good. That feels good. Okay, what we're gonna do now? Okay. Welfare. Increase health. Yes. Now we can't like leave it. If we have extra by the end of the turn, we're gonna spend it on on, like, first of all, we want to go for workers' right protection, and then later on, we're gonna do tenant protection laws, okay? Like, that's a good idea, I think. Yeah, I think maybe we have to go for tenant first. Tenant, then we go for workers' rights. Do I go on a little bit more? Do I go on a little bit more? Maybe I should go. Maybe I should go. Maybe like another within 30 minutes. Okay. Once more, I took my seat next to Hugo in the middle of House of Delegates. My uncle watched with a smile as the representative began filing into the room. I think we'll find a lot more supporters of the crown since the last time we were here. I'm relieved that RPP historic gains 6 years ago were merely an anomaly. Perhaps Manus' charisma is wearing off. Even if that wasn't the case, I'm under no obligation to take the party's advice. Let's just say perhaps Manus' Saison's charisma is wearing off. One can only hope. A gavel bang? Give me a second. Excuse me. Dara the Rayo, positioned behind the House Speaker podium, put the wooden mallet aside. I called this meeting of the House delegation to order. She bowed in my direction. Thank you for coming, Your Majesty. Manus nodded his assent from his usual place behind the opposition podium. Daria flipped open a binder. The first item of our agenda is an update on Zil. My constituents are eagerly awaiting the end of Zil agreement 3-year probationary period on the return of our land. There have been worries about the long-term feasibility of our trade deal. We may not have the resources necessary to hold up the end of the bargain. If and when the territory is finally returned, there are questions about how you will reincorporate into Rizia. Manus put up a hand. Objection. What questions? Zil has always been part of the province of Venice. That may be true, but in the interest of stability, reincorporating it under Rizia Imperial jurisdiction is the obvious choice. It's the same reason why the Palace Administrative District has yet rejoined Cardance Monteclar. That decision was due to ongoing border difficulties as we have experienced extremely recently. Zil faces no such danger. How can you say that after the Friendship Day incident? There is no telling what Westland will do, even if Zil is returned without a fight. At this stage, Westland will not want to risk damaging our agreement, and if they do, my province can handle it. The volume in the room grew louder as the delegates began arguing among themselves. I turned to Hugo. I have to give Zil back to Venice, don't I? House Saison would revolt if I didn't. Shouldn't Zil decide for themselves who governs them? I think we say 2. Give me Saison more land after what they did, they don't deserve it. This is totally irrelevant. There's no telling when we'll get Zil back. Say number 2. Don't go down that route, Your Majesty. Holding any kind of election in Zil opens the door for Westland to interfere. Good point. Good point. Eventually, Daria motioned for order. The delegates quieted down. Moving on to more pressing topics. Next on the agenda was a decision regarding current religious climate in Rizia. I must mention the growing pressure from Golcondi's communities to lift Rizia's blaspheming law. I saw Hugo raise his brow. They point to its evidence that the crown discriminates against Golcondism. However, these complaints are only coming from a fraction of the populace. The majority want our law to stay in place. My uncle looked relieved. He nodded empathically. Actually, I'm eating a bit of my dinner. What's wrong with the discrimination against Golcondists? Their fate is totally incompatible with modern Rizian society. Yeah, I find accusation worrying. I do not want my citizens to feel discriminated against. My party agrees, Your Majesty. Granting all citizens an equal right to worship would be a great step forward for freedom in Rizia. Silence, Mr. Ceylon. We have seen the influence of Golconnism on our neighbor Derdia. Our citizens do not want Rizia to fall victim to the same fate. Even if the blasphemy law is revoked, Rizia will never turn into Derdia. Our traditions are strong. I should hope so. To end a more positive note, I'm happy to inform His Majesty that the Rizian public has a favorable opinion on the crown. They are happy that energy stores are stable. Our business owners are appreciative of all we have done for them. Surprisingly, all three houses approve of His Majesty's reign. All in all, we cannot rest on our laurels. We are still far from the universal approach of the Liza era. Objection. How can we gauge approval when our people lack freedom of speech? I trust House Speaker to know what's going on in this kingdom. And I suppose you have a better sense of what the public thinks of me? I suppose you have a better sense. As a matter of fact, I do. Living standards among the lower classes unfortunately remain subpar. Regions on foreign descent still lack the same rights and privileges as everyone else in this country. Our workers are still demanding basic protections. Compounding their misery is the fact that they cannot speak out about it. Not quite as rosy as the picture Madame Speaker is painting. That doesn't sound bad at all. Certainly not bad enough to make me lose sleep. If that's true, I have work to do. I'm glad you see it that way. My party suggested a number of proposals that might improve the situation. It is our hope Majesty will enact on them. I'll have another look over them. That is all we ask. Daria closed her binders and looked up. That concludes today's session. Unless, of course, His Majesty has any closing remarks. But in fact, I do, Madam Speaker. Esteemed delegates. The delegates will all listen closely to me. I respect the criticism you have expressed today and I take it to heart. I thank you for bringing the attention to the plight of the less fortunate in my kingdom. You can expect prompt action from the crown regarding the matters you brought up today. It is my hope that majority and the opposition can find common ground, otherwise we are all lost. I can say because I can't do prompt right now, okay? I want to see how it goes. No matter what is going on around us, we cannot neglect our internal welfare. Thank you and glorious Rizia. Ego and the delegates repeated the phrase. My uncle and I remain seated as the session adjourned. Any thoughts on today's session, Your Grace? Baroness de Reva handling the house as capably as ever, but a certain opposition speaker is getting a little too confident for comfort. He kept his eyes on the delegate as they left the hall. Having said that, I do trust his assessment on the public's opinion. It is consistent in what I've been hearing. He picked up his attaché case and paused to look at me. It's been a while since the two of us caught up. I hope you'll do me the favor of paying me a private visit once you're back from your trip to Derdia. If you have something to say to me, you should say it here. There are some matters that are best kept in the family. Hugo rose and bowed. Until then, Your Majesty. I stayed in my seat until the room was completely empty. Was Daria right? Was my public happy with my reign? And if she was, where would I go from here? We will definitely put in the the worker protection soon. For me, right now, what I'm gonna do is that we're gonna go for workers' rights. Then we're gonna go for tenant protection laws. Those are my two things that I want to go for right now. Okay? And then later on, I might want to build Salabas Consumer Industry Park. Okay, that, and maybe if we go for establish Romus Toras University and hospital. Okay, funding resistance in Zil territory. There is an option to intensify funding for local resistance movement against Wazak administration in the context of Zil territory. I got a feeling we'll definitely have to go for at least an election. This maneuver aims to escalate diplomatic leverage, exerting pressure for the reintegration of Zil into Rizian sovereignty. While increased support for the resistance could significantly sway the Wazak government stance, there also a risk of destabilizing the region. Potentially, Wetlands claim to retain Zil for national security reasons. No, we're not gonna fund Su Omina. We're gonna fund Ariana Toras. Okay. Additional shipment of supplies, including more specialized material like sound system and second printing press, have been dispatched to Ariana Toras Foundation in Zil. Oh, we gotta go to Dirtia. How about this? Greece. Deepening involvement in Vendonasam Civil War. As Vendonasam Civil War intensifies, the monarchy's forces under the Prince Consort of Kabun Samtang launch a major offensive against key strategic cities held by revolutionary faction. Battles in the industrial heartland of Rankara, the port or city of Penguvi, the fortified position of Tamarin have reached critical stage. With the conflict's outcome hinging in the decided confrontation, Vendonasam requests regional support comes at a time where intervention could slightly alter the war's trajectory. Can I check? I can't check. Seriously. Provide air support. I think we provide air support. Reader, anti-intervention protest in Monkey's Harbor. A group of anti-war activists attempted to block the ships from carrying military aid to Vendonasam from leaving the port. The attempt was unsuccessful, with law enforcement swiftly arresting the troublemakers. Ooh, 3 budget. Okay. I think the first thing we need to do is the tenant protection laws, but we'll see how it goes. Tenant protection law, how many? 2 authority. You know what? Before that, I got a feeling I want to sell. 3 authority. 1 equal to 2. 1 equal to 2. 1 equal to 2. I think we can sell this. 1 equal to 2. Okay, we have enough. Have to keep it above 5 because in case of anything happens. Maybe we'll finish with this. Standing on a remote mountain plateau outside of Neil, the civil garrison was the headquarters of the Durian government as well as the dwelling place of its leader, Supreme Wiseman Yorga Azmal. For our meeting today, Azmal had granted me the rare permission to enter his inner sanctum. After a lengthy drive up steep curved roads, our motorcade parked just outside the garrison gates. Titus and I met Sal as we exited our respective vehicles. I must confess, I do not know what to expect, Your Majesty. I've studied Golconix compounds like these accessory, but never been allowed inside. I'm surprised you study region that you despise so much. Rizia considers their religious blasphemous. We can't expect a warm welcome. Even if we tolerate Golconix, I expect the Durians would still be satisfied. The heavy gate swung open, and the group of Azmal guards ushered us inside. The garrison's grounds were much larger than I would have guessed. It's almost the size of Port Raison Old Town. A gleaming silver pillar rose up from the center, surrounded by a cluster of administrative and religious buildings. Greenhouses, storage silos, and living quarters lined the perimeter, separated from the inner circle by a clear natural stream. The first resident we saw were women in identical white dresses, drawing water from the stream and carrying baskets of vegetables to and from the greenhouses. Is it like the Handmaid's Tale? These are seekers, Your Majesty. They said that through their physical labor, they will gain the mental clarity they need to begin their pursuit of Golconda. They do all the dirty work while the true believers lounge around do nothing. Sounds like a scam. And the fact there are no men among them is a coincidence? Not at all, Your Majesty. Women in dirty and Golconda's communities are often limited to the seeker role, while men are permitted to advance. Yeah. As the guards led us closer to the pillar, the sound of men's voices can be heard, short, sharp shouts emitted in perfect unison. The disciples. They practice purification of the spirit through the strict martial arts regimen. I know a few ones whose spirit they could purify. And this is us. And the role above that. Adepts work mainly in the spiritual and intellectual realm. They make up the majority of Azmal's council. We emerged into the center of the garrison. In front of the pillar was a training ground the size of the football field, flanked on either side by white marble temples. On it, some 4 dozen men were engaged in combat drills. Fighters watched in open admiration as they executed complex choreography of strikes, blocks, and counterattacks, each punctuated with a forceful cry. A gong chimed in the distance. Almost instantly, the disciples spread out to form perfect circle around us. Yorga Azmal, dressed in the same robes I see him wear at the Alliance of Nations, stepped out from the midst. Welcome to the Silver Garrison, Your Majesty. Thank you for the demonstration, Supreme Wiseman. The skill of your disciples is admirable indeed. I'm humbled to be here. You should be, Your Majesty. His smile curdled as he turned to Sal. So, Grand Wiseman, we finally met. Well, I have been looking forward to it, Supreme Wiseman. Shall I lead in a Ruhia's prayer ceremony? For this special occasion, I had something different in mind. A traditional Durdian duel of generosity. Sal's face turned white. I know better than to engage Golconda in the duel. I would rather not start things off with a fight. Let us pray instead. A duel of generosity is not a mere fight, Your Majesty, but as you wish. He lowered his head and motioned for the disciples to kneel. Do you have a specific prayer in mind, Your Majesty? I do not, but Grand Wiseman has a few words prepared. But then, by all means, go ahead. Sal nodded solemnly. Oh Lord, bless the blasphemers. For this... He raised his head and to look directly at Azmal. In their Why, Sal? We're in their land, god damn it! God damn it, you Sal! A little harsh. Not what I would have selected, but thank you, Grand Wiseman. You wanted to talk, did you not? Let us talk. Okay, we should not let him speak. Oh, Sal, what the hell are you doing here? I didn't expect you to be that much of an asshole. Do you have to like say that right in front of his face? I'm surprised you studied. I do not despise the Golcondas, Your Majesty. I still have hope they will return to the fold. Sounds like a scam. Okay, I want to see what he say. The work of disciples and adepts is no less rigorous, Your Majesty, but yes, the seeker role is particularly thankless. And roll above that. I'm humbled to be here. Maybe we'll say it's a great privilege. You're familiar with your custom? Even better. No weapons, no bloodshed, each leader represented by a champion of his choosing. He spread his arms wide. Alum Eshtari, Zirak Nelim. The circle of men flattened out into a long line. Azmal slowly walked from one end to the other, then back to the middle. He stood in front of a particularly tall, well-built disciple and bowed. The man took a step forward and returned the gesture. I'll be represented by Loran. His participation in this duel shall be his final challenge before his ascension to the rank of adept. The rest of the disciple applauded. Sal politely followed suit. Azmal turned to Titus. My bodyguard tensed up instinctively. Captain Godian, I've heard tales of your fighting prowess, but before and after you began servicing the king. Am I right to assume you have brought this man as your champion, your majesty? I have. Captain Godian shall represent me in the duel of generosity. Sal nudged Titus forward. The captain bowed. Yes, I will do my best to make the crown proud, sir. Excellent. I'm looking forward to witnessing a Rizian Golden Guard in action. Each fighter will now have 5 minutes to prepare. Lauren nodded his assent and walked away. He knelt on a patch of grass and raised his arms skyward in a prayer. His face a mask of concentration. Titus removed his blazer. He performed a few stretches and started throwing practice jabs in the air. I walk over to him. I know you can take it, Titus, but I want to let him win. No. Don't pull any punches, Captain Gordian. Show the idea what a real fight is like. He nodded fiercely. I will, sir. A short while later, another gong sounded. The disciples formed a tight circle around Titus and the man Yorga Azmal had called Lauren. The Supreme Wiseman stopped between them. This duel will last 10 minutes, or until one opponent acknowledged the other's superior skill in combat. Should a fighter draw blood, the duel will be called off immediately. Its result void before the Lord. You will bow to one another, the duel will commence. I stepped back into the circle. He and the disciples began a slow deep voice in Durdian, and as Titus and Lauren bowed to one another. The moment they began sparring, it was obvious how evenly matched they were. The Durdian fighter moved with a fluid unpredictability. Titus with a sharp, deliberate precision. Each strike was met with a parry, every advance with a retreat. I snuck a look at Jorga Azmal. The Supreme Wiseman seemed utterly spellbound by the spectacle unfolding before us. Suddenly heard a cry of pain. Titus was doubled over on the ground, clutching his jaw just below his ribcage. Lauren looking dumbfounded, reaching a hand down to help. Titus swatted away and lurched unsteadily to his feet. He had a look on his eyes that bordered on feral. Oh. Stop this duel at once. Titus and Lauren stepped away from each other, looking confused. Azmal signaled the circle to stop chanting. I know, I said it was just a light jab. I think. Titus, what the hell happened? Titus coughed. Forgive me, both of you. I was taken by surprise. Azmal frowned. He turned to Lauren. Today's not your day, my champion, but your ascent will soon come. You wanted to talk? We will talk. Quickly. The disciples, because like I feel like without a doubt, like Titus will be able to win, okay? But remember, if somebody draw blood, this whole ritual is gonna be voided. Okay? Like I say, I feel like Titus is more like the berserker. Okay, like once he's hurt, he's gonna unleash his full potential, right? But him winning, of course, it's a pride for our kingdom, right? But at the same time, we're gonna disrespect their ritual, and we're in basically their, I wouldn't say holy site, but it's one of their religious places, right? Okay, so spilling blood here is probably not a good idea. Titus stood outside as Sal and I followed the Supreme Wiseman through the door at the base of the pillar. A staircase led down to a softly lit room, its walls lined floor to ceiling with bookshelves. There were no tables nor chairs, just a number of comfortable-looking cushions on the carpeted floor. Osmo gestured for us to sit. This is the very heart of the garrison, Your Majesty. I never make a political decision without consulting the teaching of Saint Ruhak. Ruhak's writings have indeed kept their relevance even in our present day. I would not presume to have your religious wisdom, but I do often speak to the advice of Grand Wiseman Ignatius. I actually want to say to you, I spend my time listening to my people, Supreme Wiseman, not saints who died centuries ago. This is gonna like piss him and Cell as well. So we'll just say one, okay? Remember, like I would say like half of diplomacy is like you knowing when to shut up and like take it. Okay? Like if you, without a doubt, you have to remain, like you have to put your foot down sometime. But unless the time comes, you have to like suck it up. That's why like when the Zill thing happened, right? We have to like, okay, he's definitely pushing my buttons every single time. But the number one thing we need to do is basically like get Zill back. Do not forget the objectives, okay? Which is why like earlier we actually even apprehended Lucida for her alleged and seemingly like clear-cut case of her intervening in the palace border incident. He peered at me closely. Are there any of his tracks that you find particularly useful? I cannot choose just one. It's like asking me to pick a favorite child. Older teachings. To be honest, I've been too busy. I cannot choose just one. For every situation, there is a different treatise, Your Majesty. I would suggest you read on the embrace of the divine differences. It might lead you to treat Golcondas differently in your country. Your so-called pilgrims were illegally occupying our sacred place of prayer. What else could I have done? You act as Golcondas are innocent victims, as if you haven't been involved in insurgency or terrorism. Our blasphemy laws were passed to protect Rizzian Ruhus' right to observe in peace. I will not apologize for putting my countrymen's right before yours. Ooh. Like right now, I'm not interested in Ford because I've been harsh. Like, because there is like fault on their side as well. I think maybe you'll say 3. Blasphemy laws are passed to protect Rizzian Ruhus' right to observe in peace. I will not apologize for putting my countrymen's right before yours. Ruhak and his disciples traveled these lands long before our borders existed, Your Majesty. A worshipful place of birth should not prohibit him from following the divine path. Azma crossed his arms. You would not have come today if you did not want something from me. But first, we must discuss your so-called blasphemy law. His eyes fixed on Sal. The Arc-Century Plover, Beniavon, and Yalis are 3 of the most sacred sites in Ruhis religion. It is not fair that my people are denied access to them. When you were allowed to enter them, you crowded the real Ruhises to the point that damaging one of our precious sanctuaries. If you wish to limit the flow of visitors to your Arc-Century, we will not oppose to that. But I suspect your law has never been about overcrowding. I'll set up right. It is no secret that the majority of Ruhism leaders regard Golcondas as a taint on our religion. A taint? Golcondism has millions of practitioners, all of whom would testify that we are following the one true path of Saint Ruhek laid out for us. A true path that involves the oppression of women. Man, this one is kind of like... How should I say this? Okay. One thing is that we know that the teaching, right? The teaching of Golcondism, we saw them like oppressing women. That's one thing. Second thing, it's like allowing like homosexuality. It's kind of like a mixed bag. Like I would like, if do whatever you want, but do not oppress people. Doesn't enlightenment through violence directly contradict Ruhek's teaching? He has a point, Grand Wise One. Who are we to say that our form of racism is the only correct one? I'll go with 1 or 3. This one is just pushing it. This one at least we're arguing in terms of religions, okay? Not violence, as Ruhek wrote. One must hone the discipline of the body as the spirit to guard and guide the virtues bestowed by the divine. Yet in the quiet whisper of peace, true righteousness take root and flourish. Yet in quiet whisper of peace, truth and righteousness take root and flourish. Okay, don't you see, you're both right. Both men glare at each other. We don't have to agree with each other's practice, others to practice diplomacy, Supreme Wise Man. Can we get around this? Your people are guests in our country, Supreme Wise Man. They shouldn't abuse their privilege. I think that's true. I still don't understand the importance of these particular sites. Can't you build your own temples in Dirdia? That's a bit too much, man. I'll say number 2. What privileges? You only invite Dirdians into Rizia to do the work that your own people claim is beneath them. My people have mined your gold, built your weapons, extract your gas, yet you bar them from the religious holiest of places? If your people want to partake in prosperity, they must assimilate. Those who seek freedom of religion are welcome to return to Dirdia. At least Dirdians in Rizia are compensated for their labor. How many years must one toil as one of your seekers before seeing a cent of wages? It is not Dirdian laborers we are worried about, it is the holy prickle. Maybe I'll say number 2. It is forbidden for a seeker to do work that enriches another. They only toil on behalf of themselves and their own community. Then don't send your guys here! Right? You say it's forbidden for them to do work that enriches another. And themselves, right? Wait, if you say it's forbidden for a seeker to do work that enriches another, then basically they're working for your country, and they're like in a sense like enriches your government but not them. I know the strife Rizia is facing. If you would see reason and lift the unjust ban, there is much we in Dirdia can do to help you. You speak of us as though we are a charity case. Is it not Dirdia that has been clamoring to end its international isolation? Can you promise that your people will respect the rule of law in Rizia, whether or not it clashes with Golcondism? Can you ensure your people will respect our holy buildings? They belong to Ruhis after all. We face no strife, Supreme Wise Man. When Zil is returned to us, Rizia will be stronger and more prosperous than ever. This one I would say 2 and 3. Like I don't only want them to like respect the holy site, I want them to respect our law as a whole. But I'm scared if I say this, then later like they're not gonna worry about like, you know, they wouldn't, and I would say they're gonna like destroy the holy sites. That's one thing. Can you promise that your people will respect the rule of law in Rizia, whether or not it clashes with Golcondism? I think this is like the general, but that's what I want. I cannot control what Dirdians do in your country, but I will help you preserve order at the 3 Archsanctuaries to the extent that I'm able. Sal looked at me with warning in his eyes. You tread a dangerous path, Your Majesty. I do not know whether Rizia can tolerate an influx of Golcondas. Holy free authority? I unfortunately have no choice, Mr. Azmal. I will nullify our blasphemy laws in exchange for your country's aid. You know, here I want to see the Gokwan, like the royal decrees. I want to see the effect. Because I do understand that, like, I want to remove the state religion, right? And it's not in one fell swoop. It's gonna be slowly but surely, okay? But there's also another problem right now, which is that I'm running low on authority right now. I'm running low on authority because I do want to implement some changes, okay? Like, number one is that the tenant protection, number two is the worker protection. I need authority to do that. But this is the, like I say, this is the best place to remove the blasphemy law because we're getting something back in. We're getting something back at the same time we're giving. One thing that I think I could have done differently, okay, is that just now I did a large energy sale, right? Large energy sale, you need 2 authority, okay? You need 2 authority, and if I were to redo, I would have sell it through small or medium, because small or medium you don't need authority to do that. So in other words, we have extra. Maybe I'll do that behind the scene. Like I will do that. Okay, I would, instead of using a large energy sale, I'll use small energy sale or medium energy sale to get back our budget, so that later on, like I say, I want to do the tenant protection law and the worker protection. Maybe worker protection I'll do it next turn, because I want to get the budget income. Okay, it's supposed to be done in the beginning of the turn, if you ask me, because in the start of next turn you're gonna get extra budget. So maybe I can delay it to the next turn, but in the beginning of the turn I'll do that, because we do have quite a lot of budget over here. So we go with number 1. Thank you, Your Majesty. I'll struggle to keep his expression neutral. I give the order to our Archbishop. Your people can expect entrance to Plavo, Benioven, and Yalis within a week. I will not forget this act of compassion, Grand Wiseman. My people thank you. Yes, well, may the Lord be with them. Azwan solemnly turned to me. Now, Your Majesty, what is it you want? We're at the risk of losing territory of Zil to Wakland. I will humbly call upon your great warrior culture for assistance. This is what we want. Great warrior culture? Is that... Are we gonna ask them to help for war? I don't want to go to war. Maybe you just say strengthen, and then when we strengthen, they will help us when it comes time. Azman's eyes lit up. I would welcome the chance for Durdia to grow closer to our Rizian brothers. In fact, I was hoping to speak with you about an energy partnership. Nice! Nice, we can sell! I hear you have sold oil and gas to other Merkopan countries. Perhaps you would be willing to ship us across the Gulf of Mordia. That's exactly the kind of strengthened ties that I was talking about, Supreme Wiseman. Wouldn't it be easier for you to buy oil from Westland? To be frank, we need your diplomatic support more than... Oh, 1 and 3. I want to get 1 and 3. Number 1. Money, man. Money. Wait, I have +4. But I can turn this in. Basically, if I do this, I turn the energy directly into budget instead of me every single time I have to sell. But like I say, I do want their support in diplomacy as well, though. When two like souls converge, the divine smiles upon them. Think about it. Once your Zil Harbor is recovered, the distance between our ports will be practically nothing. Oh, this is good! This is good! Okay, the reason why it's 1-to-1. 2 energy, 2 budget. 2 energy, 2 budget. It's 1-to-1. Like on the market, we're selling actually like 2. Like this is 1-to-1. When we sell internationally, it's 2-to-1. So like 2 energy, 1 budget. This is good. But it seems that this one, like, they also want Zil to come back to us, so they're gonna give their support to us nonetheless. An energy agreement it is. Thank you, Your Majesty. Our great nearest republic will endeavor to support you diplomatically as well. Yes! We get both. I will hold you to those words, Supreme Wise-Man. Right now, I think I got everybody on our side. We have more well, Mordia, I kind of like asked her to take back, but I don't think like she would join in because like she doesn't like small like, okay? That's one. We also have Palace because we are a good balance. We are at basically like a good relationship with them, right? Now we have Dirdia. So a lot of people, even Lesbia. It's not Lesbia. Hogsland. Like, we did the nationalization, so everybody is on our side now. So we're gonna like seclude, we're gonna seclude Wackland, aka Small like from all this. I think I would say Zil is basically practically ours, okay? Because Wackland is basically like isolated now. That will be all for today. But I have another favor to ask him. He kept a smile on his face. This is as far as my goodwill goes. I beg you do not test it. We stood and made our way back up to the stairs. The sun was shining brightly as we emerged from the base of the pillar. Outside, Titus was sitting by himself, his eyes on the group of disciples exiting some distance away. On seeing me, he rose and snapped to attention. Your Majesty, shall we go? Yes, we've done all we set out to do. Asmal reached out his hand to me. You're welcome you're welcome back to the garrison anytime, Your Majesty. Remember that people don't like him, so I don't want to say you're welcome. Just shake his hand. The sound of the hymns and clashing swords accompanied us as we made our way out of the compound. I knew that I would never see the Silver Garrison again. Okay. Now, I think this is all for today. The one thing that I would change, right now we have one, right? Like I say, the one thing I'm gonna do is basically I'm gonna start it back like in the beginning of the turn, okay? So, like I say, I should not use a large initial global energy seal. Where is it? Large energy global seal, okay? So this one goes -3 authority, okay? So we would like, I'm basically gonna redo it and change this to, a medium global energy seal, okay? The reason why is that selling that is actually 2-to-1. Like I said, having trade relationship like just now, it's a 1-to-1. So it's a no-brainer, okay? So we'll do that. And not only that, it's like per turn. So we're gonna have like a very good, we're gonna get good money. Like for example, like here, yeah, 3 turn from Morella trade, okay? Yeah, so give me time. Tomorrow we're gonna play again, okay? Tomorrow we're gonna play again, and you'll see the increase in authority here, okay? So that's all for now. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.